and people succeed based upon, you know, the stats that Jesse was saying, having nothing to do with white supremacy, you know, you really just, you can't blame it all on that. And, you know, instead, maybe you ought to be looking at why is there so much black on black crime? Is that because of white supremacy? Why are kids in Chicago shooting each other? Is that because of white supremacy?
Sorry, pause it. This comes up so many times, and I think it might even came up in the Tim Pool debate. Like, the reason that certain communities are often like more about their own gun use and need to is because like the cops don't actually serve a function in there, right? Like they can't go to the cops to solve issues because like the cop for clearance rate for murder, something like that, are extremely low. So like, yes, it's awful, and it's a sign of like a societal failing, but it's not a sign of like, oh, black people are just naturally violent. It is actually white supremacy.
Well, that is it. I mean, like this is where, and I think I did see that that moment with the other guy, whoever the other guy was like, you know, the reason why police over police black and brown communities is because that's where all the crime is. And the idea that, like, you know, in my mind, it's like, well, okay, let's tease that out. Why do you think that is? Because it's one of two reasons, right? It's either that there is something essential within, you know, black or brown people that make them more likely to commit crime, or there is a structure in society that has disempowered, that has created more obstacles to success, that has disinvested from these communities and given these communities less reason to invest in the idea of pursuing other paths in which to, you know, fulfill themselves, whether that's from like money or education, whatever it is. That has gone on for centuries in one fashion or another and has created this. Those are the only two real possible reasons. And like, even you want to talk like the lead thesis in terms of like, you know, why we saw such a drop in crime, not just in New York, but nationally and internationally, 20 years out from when lead gasoline was outlawed. Think of places where there's the greatest density of pollution. It is invariably in communities of color. And why is that? Because invariably over time, not every single community of color, but broadly speaking, when you have a group of people who have been systemically kept from having political power, they end up, and economic power, they end up in areas where the dumps are, or the electrical station is, or where there's highest, air pollution. I mean, we saw this in the context, I keep citing this because it just happened a couple of weeks ago. The IRS admitted that they did the research and they found that they were auditing black people at significantly higher rates than white people. And there is no race listed on your taxes. But why does this happen? It happens because the people with political power structured the nature of what our tax laws were and structured the nature of how this regulatory agency would go about executing its regulations. And the people in power happen to be white. I mean, happened to be white. They were white. And they were working in their own best interest. This is one form of structural racism. And that doesn't speak to necessarily intent. It's that people tend to put themselves first. Or in our society, white people started this society by putting themselves first. I mean, literally on day one.
Look at the unemployment for young black people, right? And like I mentioned like guns is like, okay, you can't depend on the cops to defend you, so you get a gun. But also like guns, when the only opportunities are things that like are outside of like the formal economy, it sort of rebounds on itself. That's where you get gang violence. Like this is all because of a subjugated population economically doesn't have the opportunity.
Yeah, and if you have in this community, like, it's pretty straightforward. If there's no opportunity within the law, people become outlaws.
Yep.
I mean, it's
We had a whole genre of film in like the 50s to the 80s about white people doing that in the Wild West.
I love listening to you guys, especially when you debate libertarians. But I want to talk to you about your perception of Elon Musk.
okay.
I'm a progressive from day one since I was 3 years old. The thing that you guys have to recognize about Elon Musk, he's not the nicest guy in the world. But he's trying to solve problems, the problems that he sees in the world. That's the impetus of all of his companies. That's the impetus of the decision he makes, especially with regard to Twitter.
What is the problem that he saw with Twitter?
That's the way to do it.
What is
I'm sorry?
Okay. Well, I mean, I think that solving problems is not a particularly unique desire that people have. The real issue is what problems does he identify? So what problem did he see with Twitter that he felt needed to be fixed?
Okay, the problem that he saw with Twitter is that he sees an issue with regard to free speech and allowing speech that might be undesirable to be put out there, like with regard to the ACLU arguing for the plan to march to Skokie.
Right. Okay. And are you aware that he can?
You can't shutter it.
Okay. Are you aware that he considers the use of cis now to be a slur and is actionable if it is deployed too often?
Actionable in what way?
He said you can get banned or suspended.
I heard. My understanding that you could get suspended, but not banned. You can come back.
Okay, suspended. So, all right, suspended. So, in other words, you can be punished for using the word cis. Are you aware that he suspended?
Well, it's a private company. It's a private company.
But wait a second. But wait. But wait.
Okay.
I'm just going about, you're claiming that he saw a problem that people are being punished for saying things that are verboten, and he comes in and creates his own list. It sounds more like to me that you have misidentified the problem that he saw with Twitter. And I would suggest that the problem that he saw with Twitter is that it wasn't promoting things that he thought should be promoted, which, look, he can buy the company. It's a private company.
Right.
He can do with it what he wants. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about whether he is someone that I should support. And it's so the real issue is, what problems do you see? And I don't think that he saw that Twitter was anti-free speech. I think he saw that he didn't like the way that Twitter was censoring, and he wanted to censor in a different way.
Well, I think he saw that Twitter was censoring in a way that, and I'm progressive, so
no, I know, but put that aside.
He
came in,
but I think what he's trying to say is that the language that people are putting out there should be allowed to be in the public sphere,
but not cis.
Oh, I'm not familiar with the cis thing. I did not.
Okay, well, he just tweeted that the other day. That was just his new rule.
But,
and he also, when there were people who were reporting on him, he censored them. When somebody was just using public information from flight patterns, he banned them.
No. That's different now. It's not reporting on him. You know, Elon Musk is one of the few people in the world that does have to go around all around the world. And he does. There are lots and lots of industries.
This is public information.
Very much like to see him gone.
This is public information. The reporters use that information all the time. It's public information.
But nobody goes through that except this kid. Nobody else was doing that because it's
don't you see that you're just
he's just they thought that Elon Musk was going to be there.
Elon is just trading
car with his wife and
I understand now. Elon is just trading his idea for what should be censored with the pre-existing idea for what's being censored.
Marie is ready to buy her first home. Come on. When you buy with Rocket Homes and finance with Rocket Mortgage, you get up to $10,000 cash toward closing from Rocket Mortgage.
Visit onlywithrocket.com to get started today.
I'm Nick Fury. Been riding the desk for the past 6 years, trying to figure out where our future enemies are coming from.
Official SHIELD activity.
Never occurred to me they would be coming from above.
You say this thing looked like Coulson.
Talk like him, too.
Shapeshifters.
We can't trust anyone, not even our own men.
Now I stand before you
As my true self, without deception. I just want to talk. My people lived as refugees, homeless.
Talos.
Sorry. And the handful of us that are left will be slaughtered next. There are thousands of us separated from each other. This is just the beginning.
They won't be safe here. They need their own home.